Hi, I'm Jason, and this is the Cultural Breakdown. So at Summer Games Fest, Square revealed the latest trailer for the new Final Fantasy VII game. It's Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and this is the sequel to the previous one they released a couple of years ago, Final Fantasy VII Remake, and obviously that one is a remake of the 1997 game. So for those who don't know, in the 1997 game was kind of a long one. The first remake, the one that came out recently, was kind of basically the first part of that, almost like I want to say prologue or whatever, but I mean it basically is just the opening act to it, and that part of the game, it was just like focused on when you're in Midgar up until the point where you leave the city. And honestly, I do feel like they did stretch out the gameplay a lot. I mean, I think a lot of other people criticize the game for that, because in the original game, the Midgar segment maybe took like 4 hours to get through and stuff like that. So they had to drag it out and add like a lot more padding to it, which I understand. I just wish they didn't. I think they should have just gone through it how they did, but that's something else. The graphics looked great. The gameplay, I think, was fun, even though it was different, especially with the combat. So all in all, I mean, it actually did pretty well. And yeah, if you look at Metacritic, I mean, scores even reflect that. People tend to like it. Well, so obviously they're going to get another one, also because they didn't leave it off or finish it off. But this is going to kind of contain spoilers for the first game. So at the end of Final Fantasy VII Remake, Cloud and Company dispatch the Whisper Harbinger, creating alternate timelines. The game shows Zack, who died in the original game's version of events, alive, suggesting the developers at Square Enix are planning to not just create a beautiful modern remake of the beloved 1997 game, but completely reinvent the possibility space for its characters in the process. So in the trailer for this, you do see like segments of this. Let me just kind of start. So that's it.
Search and rescue operations are...
Even after everything we've done to it, it's still going strong.
Still looks great.
That way. But in reality,
this is like when you're leaving Midgar in the original game.
5 years ago.
Yeah, you get chocobos.
The life stream.
Here's Cosmo Canyon.
Shadows of the Man, I believe he called them.
This looks like it's around Gold Saucer area. I can't quite tell.
Well, now, think we woke it up.
Yeah, and one of the most interesting things I saw about this, where is that? This part at the end here.
You murdered my dad. You burned my village.
Do you know that I killed her? So, who is she?
Yeah, that's the part I wanted to talk about with this, because as we know from the original one, Tifa never died. But because they're creating a different timeline on this one, what does that line by Sephiroth mean? Does it mean that she did die and this is possibly a clone or someone else who's an imposter? Is Sephiroth just trying to get in Cloud's head? I mean, the thing is, we don't know with this one, and that's kind of the interesting thing about what they're doing with it. And I don't necessarily hate what they're doing. I mean, I think it would have been fine if they just remade this, but they're trying to do something different, and I can respect that. I mean, even if I don't necessarily agree with it, I would actually really like it if they just updated the graphics like they did and just kind of did it exactly the same thing, take out the padding. But fortunately, it looks like they're going to do that because, like I said, with the original one, the Midgar segment was just like a few hours and then they stretched it out. But this one, it feels like they're going from the point where you leave Midgar to when you get to probably the end of the backstory when you get to Nibelheim, because I didn't see anything like Vincent in this, so you probably don't get to him quite yet. So just a little bit after Cosmo Canyon, we already saw that in here, so I can see that being kind of the ending of the game. But actually, maybe Cosmo Canyon will be kind of the ending. I don't know. But either way, this does seem like it's gonna be a bit longer because that does take up a bit more gameplay in the original. So I'm hoping they just do away with a lot of the padding, but it's hard to say about this. But on kind of a side note, I did stumble across this a couple of days ago. This group, the Final Fantasy IX Memoria project, it was 50 professional developers 3 years creating basically this concept of Final Fantasy IX. So I just want to check that out a little bit, just to kind of show a little bit of what that was. Yeah, and this is basically just the starting of the game. They just kind of took the very opening of it and played some stuff with it. Let me fast forward a little bit through this. So at the start of the game, how you're just playing as VII, kind of running around the city before things really kick off.
This pocket.
Right.
Well, that's that. But if people did want to play, if they did want to remake Final Fantasy IX and just make it like that, exactly the same, maybe tweak the gameplay a little bit, because the combat system was a little, I mean, it was fine, but if they tweaked it a little bit, just remade it with those graphics, I would be all over it. I don't think you need to do any more. I mean, I can respect wanting to do more or something more with it, like they're doing with this one here, but I'd be fine if they just left it how it is. But let me know what you think in the comments. Make sure to like and share the video, and to subscribe if you want to see more. Thank you.